Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Anything Blows. My name's Andrew Dika, and a man I've encountered at several top tier shows, the matchmaker for top tier, Dan Francis. I'd say the fighting pride of Wales, but I'd say maybe the matchmaking pride of Wales. How you doing, my man?
I'm very well, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. I'm sorry I
Finally, you've
kept you
got one
so
done.
long, and it's been a long time coming. Next time I see you at the top tier show, I'll let you land a left hook to the body and a clean right hand. But I apologize for the
Good.
delays. I'm not usually late, but I just decided to live in a moment this time and leave the fight home. So going on to your card, Dan, just for the fans that don't know, just for everyone that doesn't understand or hasn't been on social media lately or hasn't seen it, it's historic. Not only have you signed ENI-THING recently, but for Vote Boxing, and you've signed Baluta, but it's historic because you're showcasing your first show ever in Wales, and it's historic for Welsh boxing.
Yeah, I've been involved. Richie Garner is the actual promoter of this show. I'm doing the show alongside Richie. So it's in association with Vote Boxing. But Richie's the promoter, and he deserves, to be involved in this show. It's massive for him that he's a massive servant to Welsh boxing. A lot of people don't realise what he has done for Welsh boxing in the past, and now to be a part of this with him and promoting it with him. This show, it's the first one we've done, and we've put a lot of time and effort into it. And I think it's showing for the fighters. We've had the promo videos, we've had the posters. We've had the talk the talk we done with Ashley and Victoria that the Punchers podcast done for us. I know we've got the weigh-in tomorrow, and then obviously we got the fight night itself on Saturday. We'll talk about it a bit in a minute, but we had a pull-out today. As you do on fight week, everything sort of happens, but in the space of, I think it was 6 minutes, the pull-out happened, and we had a new fighter back in and done and dusted, and we were cooking on gas. We were on our way. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to be involved. I'm proud to be able to put this show on with Richie. As you said, it's historic. It's a massive night for women's boxing, for women's sport. It's the first ever female Welsh title that's ever been competed for. I'm sure we'll discuss it a little bit more later on.
100%. And you mentioned that there obviously it's on our side of the planet it's the same, but the first British title for female was Tyson Gallagher, so you're going to create history for Wales here. So just talking about pull-ups, it was meant to be ENI-THING versus Toby Vermeer, which would have been a mega card for, was it a Celtic title, right? Or
yeah, the plan was obviously we were billing that as the Battle of the Celts. Obviously that fell off a long while ago. A good 6 weeks ago now. No, sorry, 4 weeks ago. Sorry, not 6 weeks ago. So yes, and he's got cut in his comeback fight against Ryan LeBone. We manage it, Anis. And it's gutting not to have him on the show. But that fight will hopefully come again, and we'll hopefully get it sorted and done and dusted. In a couple of months' time.
And just before we go on to the actual card, how proud are you to have signed not only Anis, but also who Anis manages? How proud are you? Two massive signings and two people who have been on TV platforms before at big arenas.
Yeah, it's massive. See, put the show aside for a minute. I'm involved with Vote Boxing. I'm one of the directors of Vote Boxing. We're a management company alongside Latif Mohammed, who's been involved in the sport for a long, long time. He's done major things. He's been out in Saudi. He's been involved in world title fights. He's done shows in Dubai and Saudi before himself. It's massive. And then also Joe Yerrell, who's he's brilliant. What he does as well. He's a house seconds for Boxer and Sky. So we're involved in a lot of things in boxing at the moment. And it's brilliant to be involved in it as a team. But our main goal at the moment is obviously management. We've got ENI-THING, who everyone knows has had them 2 tough fights against Vidal Riley, and he's on the comeback now for title fights, hopefully, building back up nice and slow. We managed Baluta alongside Anis. It's a co-management with Anis, it's alongside him. So, we're looking for the best opportunities we can for Baluta now following that fight against Dennis McCann. We also manage Brandon Pickup, who's an up-and-coming cruiserweight, and he's making his debut on August the 31st on Josh Wales' show, where he's fighting Perry Howe. Perry Howe is a very seasoned away fighter. It's a tough fight in his debut, but we believe that Brandon is going to come out on top. We also manage Michael Rambalesta, who everyone would know is a former English champion and an area champion, and he's got a big fight coming up as well, which we'll be able to announce very, very soon. Quite really big fight, in fact, and against a very, very, very good opponent. So hopefully we'll be able to announce that soon. We also manage a Nigerian called Tyson Kill, or Suleiman as well. And he's got a big fight coming up in November as well, which hopefully we'll be able to announce that soon, shortly. And also, you know, we're involved in Welsh boxing a lot, and we've got a debutant coming through in Wales. He's our first Welsh signing, Harley Griffiths, fantastic amateur, fantastic on the unlicensed scene as well, you know, and got power in both hands. And he's coming to make a statement shortly. And obviously his brother Levi Griffiths is on the card on Saturday as well.
Love to hear that. And Dan, just to take it off the boxing aspect for a second, there still is boxing, but for you personally, growing up in Wales, who did you look up to? I know there's a few cliche names, but who did you look up to, whether it's just in Wales or abroad, and what got you into boxing?
What got me into boxing is, you know, I've been involved in combat sport since the age of 14, been involved in sports a lot all my life, but I was a kickboxer, representing my country at kickboxing. And yeah, just followed it through from there. I was going to turn over professional myself, but then left it too late. And obviously financially, it's very, very hard, isn't it? And I had a family, and obviously it's not financially stable to do it. I looking at turning over 29, 30, it was very, very late. So I sort of left that idea behind. But then I've always wanted to get back into it. And in fact, I started doing interviews like you're doing, for a well-known channel called Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat. And that's where I came across Joe Yarrow, my business partner, or one of the business partners now, because obviously we've got Latif as well. And we met, we were speaking, we were primarily, our business used to be sponsorship for fighters, but we've changed that business model completely now, and we've become a management company. But that's how we met. We were speaking, I interviewed Roman Fury, and then we just progressed from there. Now, where the boxing, that I think is starting to get noticed and recognised across the country, to be honest.
And lastly, before I go on to the actual cards, because I like taking time on stuff, talk about that there. So two things I had. Anis, everyone you've named, not only does every managerial person or everyone that manages fighters want to turn them into prospects, want to turn them into champions, especially world champions. We see Anis on the edge. Unfortunately, if he would have come through that fight with Vidal Riley, he could have been English champion, but everything happens for a reason. He's on a comeback, he's rebuilding. Just unfortunate not to claim that European title. But you've got elite level fighters, experienced fights, and it encourages the rest of the stable to show that they're able to get to that title level. Is that the plan with everyone behind you?
Yeah, you know, it's about taking each individual fighter on their individual journey, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, every fighter is different. Every fighter is on a different path. Every fighter moves differently. You know, some fighters can move a lot quicker than others. That's across the board in boxing. You know, some fighters come in with a lot more pedigree. Some fighters are coming in a lot more raw. You know, and they need to be built up and matched correctly and getting the right fights at the right time. Boxing to me is all about timing. You know, it's about taking the right fights at the right time and, you know, navigating that path to titles and beyond. And obviously that's the aim of every manager, I think, is to get that fighter to the top of their ceiling then and beyond, hopefully, you know, and break through that ceiling and reach to their full potential.
And last question, just before we go back onto the card now, how long have you been matchmaking for, and how did you get into matchmaking for top tier?
So I've been matchmaking only since October. I've only been doing it since October. I was something that we were having conversations about, obviously expanding the business, and bringing different things. And when we decided to go into management, we thought it'd be good to be able to obviously matchmake our own fighters from within. I'm not having to obviously worry or put on anybody else. So I applied for my matchmakers with the board, was successful in that, and started doing little fights here and there for ourselves. And now I'd like to call my friend now, Johnny. You know, we work really well together. You know, we become friends. We speak a lot. And you know, I was speaking to Johnny on social media, and he was building up a platform. He gave me the opportunity one time to do a few fights, and then we've just developed the relationship from there. And it's an honour to work with Johnny on them shows. You know.
And I want to give the utmost credit to you, because most fans just see the main event. Most fans just see, a title fight. But with Small Hall, and it's beyond Small Hall at this level, the amount of promos behind the scenes, which you're doing as well now, and we'll get onto that in a second, it makes me proud, because just watching someone go from their journey to starting, and now you're going to start in a moment, but you're going to start this Saturday, and you have been starting for the last few months. But I want to congratulate you on the amount of fights you put on, not only, of course, because he's Welsh, but Ben Crocker. God willing, we'll see a spectacular fight for the IBF European. Hopefully no one pulls out or no injuries that time around. Should be scheduled for November if it doesn't go wrong. So you've put on great shows. You've put on, especially with this card coming ahead, and we can break these down another day. But do you find it a little bit tricky matching fighters? Because Johnny's mindset is 50-50 fights. It's not necessarily journeyman, or do you find it's smooth sailing?
No, at the end of the day, me and Johnny have got the same mindset. I think that's what boxing is developing into now, is 50-50 fights. That's what the fans want to see. I think the word, I've said it a few times in previous interviews, I think the word journeyman is sort of dwindling away now. It's home and away fighters. These away fighters have got the ability and the skills to be top prospects. But unfortunately in small hall boxing, before you make it onto the big stage on the TV where you're paid to fight, it's all about selling tickets. And you don't get paid if you don't sell tickets, and that's what a lot of people don't understand or realize. But I think that's why a lot of good fighters go on the road or go in the away corner, because then it's easier than having to sell tickets. But, boxing is hard for these fighters. That's why it's always good to try and get the opportunities that come along for these fighters. And in Wales, we've got a massive hot spot of Welsh talent, from top to bottom. A lot of talent that some people don't even know about. And that's what I'm trying to do now in the opportunities and that I'm getting given of working with certain people. I'm trying to give these Welsh fighters the opportunities and get them the opportunities that they can put their skills on the big stage to be seen and noticed,
And how's it been hosting your first show, the build up to the show, the production, the face-to-face? Like you said, you're doing a mini Johnny. I think you've probably even done it in the fastest time. If you said 6 minutes, because I believe Johnny's managed to do one in 40s, managed to do one too. But to rematch a fight within 6 minutes, that's usually unheard of. But yeah, just talk about it then. How have you enjoyed your experience in your first run out? And have you learned from Johnny? Have you learned from other people? Or do you feel like, is there nerves? Is there anything that's rushed, or you feel like you've taken your time with this and everything goes to plan and you make history on Saturday night?
Yeah, we've put on shows before, as I said at the start. We've had a few shows in Llanelli, in the Bramwyn Hall, in Swansea, but none to this level. This is different. This is history making. Nobody in Wales has ever put on a Welsh female title. It's never happened before. And it's brilliant to have 2 local girls fighting for this. And the show is its own show in its own right. The promo videos, they're brilliant. But it's giving them boxers the chance, because it's never been a show, I don't think has ever been promoted like this in Wales. But there's been great shows put on by different promoters in Wales in the past, but this show deserved to have this because of its history behind it. The fact that it's always going to be known in the history books. The female who wins that fight is always going to be in the history books. They're both always going to be in history as the first 2 girls that went down, but there's only going to be one female that's obviously going to be known as the first ever Welsh champion. So it deserves the big promotion behind it,
And the main event itself, just like Tyson Gallagher. Tyson said, who would imagine little Tyson from Luton in 100 years' time? She is the first British champion, female champion. So now let's go on to the card. We start with JD Fuervo versus Carl Sampson.
Yeah, brilliant fight there, JD. He's managed by the Welsh wizard himself in Joe Cordina. So, he's fighting Carl Sampson. Carl Sampson is a very, very experienced fighter. And if JD is not on his game on his debut, it could become unstuck. But, we believe that JD's got the skills to obviously navigate past this first fight. And it's going to be an exciting journey for JD going ahead. Again, it's an honour to have JD making his debut on our card.
And now talk about Angelo Dragon versus Evelyn Gitsov.
Yeah, Angelo just won the Welsh title. Angelo's a fantastic servant to boxing and to Welsh boxing. He's been involved in a robbery for a Welsh title previously. Then he put up another valiant effort against Jacob Robinson. And then finally, as they say, 3 times for a Welshman, he came out and won. He won against Jake Tinklin in a Fight of the Year Classic. And it was a brilliant fight. It was end to end, and it just the final 2 championship rounds allowed him to nick that fight. And it's brilliant that Angelo's finally got that belt. It's a massive homecoming for Angelo as well. He's fighting in Llanelli first time after winning the belt. It's the first time in a while, actually. It's just nice for him to get that run out. And every fight there's a risk to every fight, so he's got to be switched on and show the fans how much he's developed since last time he fought in Llanelli.
And now then we go on to Levi Griffiths versus Nathan Darby.
Yeah, Levi, you know, another fantastic talent in the amateurs, and also on the unlicensed scene as well. But Levi's never had the opportunity to fight in Wales. His both fights were outside of Wales. And now it's a brilliant opportunity for him actually to showcase his skills in front of his home fans. I know Nathan is trained by ex WBC world champion and junior Witter. So Nathan's no stranger to the ring either, and he's got the skills to upset Levi if Levi's not switched on, you know.
And now we're going to Conor McIntosh versus Owen Duran.
The Conor
Durham, sorry.
McIntosh, you know, Conor McIntosh is another fantastic fighter. You know, another fighter that deserves an opportunity on the big stage. You know, he doesn't say no to anybody. He's been very unlucky lately in certain fights where he was going to be fighting for the Commonwealth title, and then fighters got pulled onto like a Matchroom show or a different show, so it unfortunately didn't materialize. But you know, big things will come for Conor. You know, he's a current Welsh champion. And in fairness to him, you know, he's stepping up against Owen Duran. You know, he didn't have to fight somebody like Owen, but Owen Duran, you know, he's 2-3. But he was touted as a big prospect, was Owen, when he first came on the scene. But again, you know, it's one of them things where it's hard sometimes to sell tickets. So he's decided to go on the road. So that's a fight that could definitely steal the show.
And now talk about this on here. Another fight that definitely stole the show last time on Top List Cards, if not was one of the fights of the night on the last card. Really, Gilhaney versus Jackson Soggy, who always comes to win. He's got an even record here, 2-2-2 versus 2-0. Yeah, this isn't a journeyman coming to fight. This is someone that's coming to win, and it's come to take your head off.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and fair play to Willie. You know, Willie's trained by Enzo Macronelli. Enzo's is a fantastic trainer, and he's building a very, very good stable in Bonamine, in his Bonamine gym where his dad trained from, you know, and his dad trained a lot of successful amateurs. Enzo trained there for his world title, and now he's bringing a lot of fighters through. In fairness to him, he's got 4 fighters on the card on Saturday night. It's gonna be a very busy night for Enzo from top to bottom. You know, he's training Conor McIntosh, Willie Gilhaney. He's training the main event in Ashley Johnson, and he's also training Angelo Dragoni. So, you know, Willie is a fantastic talent, got a lot of power in his hands, not scared to have a fight. As you can see, he's only in his second fight. And again, Willie doesn't say no to anybody. When I presented him Malam Valera originally, he accepted him. You know, he wanted to step up. He wanted a big fight. He's taken this fight on with both hands. Unfortunately, Malam pulled out, and I was like, right, I still want to keep this fight as a 50-50. Who can I get? So I went looking, and I got into some conversations, and we came up with Jackson Ozagi. You know, I spoke to Jackson's team. There was a bit of negotiation back and forth. We got the fight done, and I think this is a fight that could steal the show. And to be honest with you, if we didn't have this Welsh title on the show as the main event, which is obviously always going to be the main attraction, this fight could headline the show. You know, it's a right 50-50 fight, and both of them come to fight as well. And both of them come to bang, and I think they're both going to be looking for the knockout. I think they're both going to be looking to get that win and push on. And I think it's one for the fans that not to blink. It's going to be an exciting fight, I think, on Saturday night.
I love it because someone could improve their record and go to 3-2-2, and someone could have their O taken away in that regard, but also really could go to 3-0, and they're both looking for the third win. So it's one to tune into. And as you said, if there wasn't a Welsh title online, I was there live for the Nikolai Campbell fight with Jackson Sagi. What a war. So now we go on to your co-main event, Lewis Parfit versus Casey Branham. Casey, another talented journeyman.
Right, I've got to give a massive props to Casey here. That's the fight that I had to sort out today. So basically, we had Lewis Parfit versus Richard Helm has been booked for a long time. It was one of the first fights that we sorted for this show. It's probably been booked for about 3 months. Richard's been training hard for it. Lewis has been training hard for it. But unfortunately, Richard has been struck with some illness. So I was thinking to myself, who can I bring in now to, you know, thing this? And I reached out to Steve Goodwin, asked him, is Casey available? He said yes. Sorted the fight out with Steve, spoke to Casey. You know, I got get on really well with Casey. You know, good relationship with Casey. He's been on a few of our shows down here in Wales. He's fought Angelo Dragoni, and he's fought Josh Melly. Josh Melly fight was a very, very tough fight. That could have gone either way. Casey could have had the win in that fight. You know, it was a good 4-round war. So fair play to Casey. He stepped up. He's come and saved the show, really. You know, it's brilliant for him to step up against Lewis, but Casey is a very, very experienced away fighter. and has got the skills as well that could have gone the other way if he wanted to. And I'm really looking forward to that fight, because Lewis is a very, very talented boxer as well, so should bring a lot of eyes to the show. Lewis has sold really well on the night. He's managed by Gary Lockett and trained by Brett Parry. Brett Parry is another fantastic up-and-coming trainer in Wales, and Gary Lockett is the Welsh legend himself. You know, manager, trainer, been there, done it all himself before. But you know, he's guiding these boys through, and it's brilliant to work alongside Gary as well.
And a fellow Welsh legend in yourself as well. Wales is full of talent, from fighters to the coaches to the managers to the matchmakers as well. So now we go on to your main event, and this is one you've been looking forward to. You've built a promo up for it. This is the one that's going to be making history, going to be remembered in history, makes legacy for years to come. But obviously, it all comes down to Saturday night. Ashley Johnson 2-0 versus Victoria Perkins, 2-1 for the Welsh area super bantamweight title. Just how does it feel? Because, like I said, everyone wants to make history. Everyone wants to make a legacy for themselves in the sport. But this is the definition of a history, and this is one that will never be forgotten. And obviously, regardless who wins or loses, it also depends on the fight. It turns out, if it turns out to be a war, people want to see a rematch. But what does this do for one of the females on this card?
You know, there's, you know, just go back a little bit. As I mentioned earlier on, Richie Garner. Richie Garner has been involved in Welsh boxing for a long, long time. You know, a great servant to Welsh boxing, and he deserves all the credit. And I know when I got my matchmaker's license, I've been friends with Richie for years and years. You know, Richie, one of the nicest guys you'll meet in boxing as well, and outside of boxing. We done kickboxing together as well. And you know, Richie said straight away, the minute you get your matchmaker's license, you can start working with me. We'll do the shows together. So that's what I've been doing. You know, I haven't got a promoter's license, but I help Richie and push the show with Richie going forward. You know, and we've done the shows in the past, and Richie used to manage Ashley, but previously, and we built her up from her debut, and the plan was always to hopefully get the first ever Welsh title. We had Victoria Perkins on our show in the Bramwyn Hall when she fought Lindsay Brzezinski. You know, and fair play to Victoria, she stepped up against a very experienced fighter. No, Lindsay has won titles. Unfortunately, it didn't go Victoria's way that night, but we still had the plans in the back of our heads that we wanted to, you know, promote the first ever female Welsh title. So we came up with a plan. We worked in the Nielsen's as well. You know, they're brilliant. They're doing fantastic stuff in boxing as well. Kyle and Mark are fantastic, and you know, it's great to work closely with them. So we sorted a plan. She fought Kerry Orton on a show in Cardiff, got the win. And once we had that, we knew we had it locked in. We already spoke to the board. We gave them our plans and told them how it would work. And yeah, they fair play to the board. They sanctioned the fight, and they've given us this opportunity to put on this history-making show. You know, this is never going to be taken away from the girls. You know, they're always going to be known as the first two females to ever fight for a Welsh title. So you know, it's fantastic. You know, them two girls are always going to go down in history. There's always going to be that one person who obviously is going to be elated on the night, and one who's going to be very, very disappointed. But both girls should always be proud that they were involved in that first ever female Welsh title fight. You know, it's all done and dusted now. They've done the hard work, they've done the training. You know, it's been 8 to 10 weeks of blood, sweat, tears, sacrifices have all come down to this one night on Saturday. You know, and then, as your question was to me earlier on, where does the girl go next? There's already stuff in the pipeline that I've put in place for the winner, but we've got to wait till after Saturday night for that to be done and dusted. You know, at the minute, we don't want to be thinking about anything else. You know, they both need to concentrate on this fight. It's the most important fight they've had. You know, it's very early on in their careers, but as we know in women's boxing, you know, the fights come around a lot quicker than they do in men's boxing. And Richie hit the nail on the head before. You know, if this was a male fight, you're probably looking for the fighter to have 5, 6, 7 fights. You know, these girls are fighting for the area title after 2 and 3 fights. So you know, it's super excited to have it on the card. You know, they're super excited for everybody involved. I think it's going to steal the show. It's a mix of styles. You know, Victoria's very tall and rangy, but Ashley's a bit shorter than Victoria, and likes to fight in close and can put a lot of pressure and work rate, etc. You know, Ashley puts a lot of effort into her fitness and everything. You know, and to be honest with you, it's a proper 50-50 fight. And for all the fans who have paid their hard-earned money, they're going to be able to say that they were there that night. You know, they were there the night that the first female Welsh title was crowned. The first female Welsh champion was crowned, and just to be part of the whole night, I think it's going to be fantastic. And hopefully, you know, as I said about Richie earlier, I know he deserves to have his name on this fight, you know, on this show, you know, and have this under his name for all the time and effort and what he's put into Welsh boxing. And, you know, I just want to say it's a privilege to be able to stand there beside him and do this, and for him to allow me to do that. And I'm looking forward to, I know it's great to have Vote Boxing's name on it as well, alongside Richie's promotional company called Shadow Promotions. So, you know, it's fantastic, and I hope to be able to stand there on Saturday night after it's all over for just a couple of minutes with Richie and just think, yeah, we've done this. You know, it's done. History's been made.
And sink it all in and just take it in. I'm immensely proud of you, Richie, everyone behind this for boxing, Shadow Promotions, every single fighter on the card. You kind of answered one of my questions ahead, so I've got 3 last questions for you. Going to go in a different order this time. I usually leave us the penultimate question. What's your one motivational message to the world for fans to block out the outside noise, block out the haters, block out the negativity, and follow and pursue their dreams?
You know, it's everyone's different in life, aren't they? You know, and you can only one thing that is always about just follow what you want to do, you know, and, you know, strive for the best, but concentrate on yourself. You know, just think about where you're going. You know, what your goals and plans are. You know, because if you start thinking about what other people are doing around you, you get distracted. So, you know, always follow your lane, what you want to do, and, you know, hard work and commitment. That's all I can say. You know, hard work, dedication, and I think I'm an example of that. I think I've done a lot of hard work and dedication since I've come into the sport, and the rewards are starting to pay off now. You know, it's brilliant to be involved in top tier and the shows that I'm involved with, and, you know, and doing bits with Dennis Hobson as well. Know what a fantastic servant to the sport Dennis is, you know, but to be able to manage fighters as well, that's always been one of my dreams to do, you know, manage fighters and work within boxing full time, hopefully one day, you know. But at the moment, I can't fault what I've done, but I think hard work, dedication, commitment, and just show willing.
A little humble brag here. Do I get hard work, dedication, and commitment?
Yeah, you do. Fair play to you, Henry. You know, we put a lot of effort in and a lot of time. Maybe need to get you a new watch for when you say 7 o'clock and you turn up at 7, but we're all good. You know, but yeah, you know, fair play, Henry. You know, put a lot of hard work and dedication, and you're at all the shows you go round. You know, what people don't understand is a lot of these YouTube channels, they don't get paid, they do it out of their own money, their own pocket. You know, it's hard work. You know, you got the likes of IFL and Boxing Social, and obviously Charlie Parsons stomping ground now. You know, they're the big boys in the scene, but obviously they all started somewhere. So who knows where you could be in 12 months' time, Henry?
Maybe I could be doing your role as well. But no, in all honesty, I really do appreciate that. And another thing to mention, I don't need to be taking a month to 2 months for interviews to be coming out. This one's not going to come out in October, December. It's going to come out tonight. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, Dan. And like you said, it's a hard work. It's what people don't see behind the scenes. And I can only apologize about 7 p.m. because the one day on this planet, I'm like, I don't have any interviews. I've been struggling. I just need to concentrate. I drop my phone. I go play football, and I've realised I had to do interviews. And why is the one day I tried to live in the 1990s without technology is the day I needed it? So I do apologise for that. Penultimate question, just to let you go. I'm going to get a timer on you, and I'm going to do what we do with Johnny. And I maybe made Johnny take about 3 minutes on this because I talk too much. But we're just going to break down a card as we did earlier. But as Johnny does his skits, just a few words on each bell, and I'm going to give you a minute 30. Obviously, Johnny's is 20, but I'm going to give you a minute 30, which is the maximum time for real. So, in 3, 2, 1, what can fans expect from JD Further versus Cole Sampson?
I think they expect fireworks. You know, JD's coming to showcase his skills. He's managed by Joe Cordina, so it's about time that he shows everybody what he can do. You know, it's his debut, and expect big things from JD.
Angelo Dragoni versus Evelyn Gitsov.
I expect the Welsh champion Angelo, the Italian stallion Dragoni, to come and showcase what he's been learning and showcase everything that he's done in the boxing.
Levi Griffiths versus Nathan Dobby.
Levi Griffiths is coming to put on a fantastic masterclass performance in front of his home fans for the first time to showcase his skills.
Conor McIntosh versus Owen Durnan.
Conor McIntosh versus Owen Durnan, that could steal the show. One of the fights that could steal the show, but Conor's coming to show exactly why he's the Welsh champion and exactly why soon we'll be able to announce some big news.
Gilhaney versus Jackson Osagie.
Willie the Gladiator Gilhaney versus Action Jackson Ozagi. That fight is probably the pick'em fight, but I've been told by Willie himself he's coming to land that big right hand on Jackson Action, and he needs a pillow. So let's see what happens. But Action Jackson is going to come and try and do the same. So it's one for the fans. Look out.
Lewis Parfit versus Casey Bradman.
No, Lewis Parfit, what a fantastic boxer. 1-0, he's going to be moved very, very fast. But Casey Bradman knows a way fighter, very, very tricky, seasoned and skilled. So let's see what Casey brings against Lewis and what Lewis can pull out the bag, because I'm sure Lewis' skills will come and show everybody how good he is.
Ashley Johnson versus Victoria Perkins for the first ever female Welsh title.
History.
Ladies and gentlemen, just before I let you go, Dan Francis, and I believe we managed to get that in a minute 30. It says a minute 55, but I'll take about 30 seconds off for me talking. I'll make that into 2 reels. Just before I let you go, you've mentioned it before and you kind of brought it on earlier. What can fans expect from the night? What can everyone who spent their hard-earned cash, and what can people who are coming to watch? By the way, is this being streamed anywhere?
It's not being streamed. It was going to be on S4C, but we didn't have enough time to get it sorted, but that's fine. It's about the fans being there. Doors open 5:30. First bell is 7 o'clock. There's action from start to finish, for the 7 solid fights on the night, all 50-50 fights. And you're going to be part of history. You can always say that I was there the night that the first ever Welsh female title took place. And it's always going to be able to say, yeah, that was me. And, it's history making. Never going to happen again. So it's fantastic. And history will be made Saturday, the 17th of August, at the Selwyn Samuel Centre in Connectley. Be there or miss out. At the end of the day, I'd like to say as well, thank you to all our sponsors who have sponsored the show in Peter Morgan Property Group, Next Car, Punchers Podcast, and Toby the Mayor, Obese the Boxer. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show, guys. And like I said, it's massive, and we really, really appreciate it. But yeah, going back to what you said, massive for Welsh boxing, massive for female sport. And Welsh female sport is just massive, and it's a proud and privileged honour to be part of it, along with Richie Garner.
And again, I'm just saying it here, you don't need to add on to it, but when it gets posted onto BBC News, when it gets posted to the local newspaper, the Welsh News, as you said again, history stands for itself, and I feel like some people don't live the moment until it's said and done, because you're all stuck in the moment. But when you take a minute, you take a step back, and the arena's empty, you've realised what you've just done, and also days later, it's one to be talked about forever.
Yeah, it's always going to be, always going to be in the history books, isn't it? It's always going to be spoken about. But yeah, it's a massive privilege and honour to be a part of it. But it's about them girls, really. And all the fighters on the card, they've all put a hard work and dedication into it. They've all trained really hard, committed, sold tickets, missed out on family events, the sacrifices that they've made. It's about them girls being part of that history and allowing them to, soak in the atmosphere, soak in the rewards, and for them to be able to remember it and be able to do it in front of their family and friends as well,
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Francis, all the best this Saturday night. All the best to everyone on the card participating, and the 2 women that are making history that night. Just for that you go, I will next see you when we catch up after the show, and next see you at the Brentwood Centre on September 7th.
You will indeed.